Hey, this is Jackson from freeautomechanic.com. Today we're going to take a look at this 2013 Ford Edge, and we're going to replace the I guess it'd be the wiper switch that's on the right hand side. Most of them multi-functions take both. This side just takes the one. Went ahead and ordered the part. It's a standard part number, WP489. I'll put a description down below with a link to get the part if you need to get one. One thing that you have to pay special attention to is whether it comes with rain sensing or without rain sensing. Alright, should take about 7 bolts. There's 2 bolts underneath here. We'll take this bottom panel off. Once we get it loose, then there'll be 3 bolts right here that we'll take off. We'll drop and take this apart at the seams. We'll just pop those 2 loose. That'll give us access to the switch. And there's 2 screws that go in these 2 holes right here. And I'll show you that once we get it loose. There's 2 10mm bolts I gotta start with. And pretty much there's no reason to unplug this. You can just leave it hang. If you find that it's in your way, go ahead and disconnect it. It just plugs in right here with the wires. Next, there's going to be 3 bolts that we take loose. Can't tell, but look like 7 or 8mm. Make sure. 7mm is what we're going to need for the 3 bolts. This bottom one's up there pretty good. So make sure you got a nice long extension. Now they do recommend that you use plastic tools to pop these loose. And if you're working on somebody else's car, it's pretty nice if you have them handy. Otherwise, you just got to use what you have. Get that pop loose. And you can see kinda 2 screws top here, one on top, one on bottom. I'm not sure. It's up to you if you want to go ahead and keep taking this the rest of the way off on both sides. I don't see any reason to, when you should be able to get right to them. One on top, one on bottom. It looks like they're a real tiny Torx bit. Now, I wished I could tell you what size Torx bit this is, but it's so rusty that I can't read it. I'll see if I can't look it up, and if I can find out exactly, I'll put that in the description below as well. But all we got to do is just undo these 2 screws. You want to make sure you hang on to them. That should be all that holds it on, except for the wires on the back. And it looks like it just plugs in these connectors right here. See what I do with the other switch. It's always a good idea at least set them side by side and make sure everything looks like it's going to line up. It looks pretty much the same. Go ahead and get that back in there. Make sure there's no obstructions or anything. Get her to snap into place. Put it back together the same way you took it apart. The problem that we were having was that even in the off position, the intermittent wipers would continue to keep going on and off, on and off. And I looked it up to see if there's any kind of recalls or anything. Technical service bulletin said if that situation happens, that the fix was to replace the switch. We've replaced the switch. Intermittent wipers are no longer working, so we'll call that fixed. Now we're just going to put it back together in reverse order now that we know that it's taken care of. One thing I noticed putting it back together, there's a little hook, looks like on the back side here. You want to try and make sure that you can't really see it. But there's a nub sticking out that it's got a hook on too. You won't be able to see it. And if you do, then it'll snap up and line up correctly.
Anything else?
No, I had to use your screwdriver there. I couldn't remember where I got it from.
That's alright. I got some more down in the basement. You need some.
Let's make sure that they also move whenever we want them to move. We turn off when we want them to turn off and stay on.